one of the things that our human friends often have a, how should we say that? Connection to in their desire with conversations is, what is my purpose, Osairah? I've been doing these things, or I have been doing this thing, or I've been doing these things and I like them, or I've loved this, but there's also something else calling to me, but I don't even know what it is. And there are so many different ways, especially because when we speak to an individual, we are going to speak directly to an individual. But if we are going to broadly have a conversation about purpose, one of the things that we find is most important or helpful, you could say helpful, about purpose is the connection to the soul's advancement. It goes kind of parallel to this conversation we've already been having, that you've come to truly wake yourself up while staying in a body. And we work with our human friends when we work with our beloved channel, you could say in the individual ways, in the mentorship ways, in the teacher ways, that this is all coming together, which we are so ecstatic for. But we open these doors with you all for your own revelation of the purposes that you've come for, which are some ways very tightly locked doors within you. And that can become very frustrating. But truly, the awakening is right where you sit. The awakening to your greater purposes is right where you are. It is the mental chatter at times that gets in the way. The talk, egoic construct of discernment that continually goes on and on and on. That is very helpful when you're living a life as we will call you human animal. When you are being the animal self as you are in a human body in the worldly experience. But the other side of you, the larger aspect of you, is that you are actually spirit. You are soul self. You are the soul energy, the ever-present I am that you are, is a continual consciousness connection to all that there is. And that is what you are all, in effect, trying to find things in the world to connect to that leads you to that feeling of knowing. And so that feeling of knowing is, as we said, right there where you are. We talk about this a lot, and we talk about it a lot because we see in all this time that our human friends have a lot of resistance to this place of trying to go, well, not, we don't want to say trying. That's how you think of it, as trying to go within. It is so much easier. That is one of the greatest challenges of being human. It is so much easier to be distracted by your experience external of you, rather than softening and going within. When you listen within, you hear so much, you feel so much, you go through so much. And on some level, many of you can only take so much of that. So it's easier for you to distract outside of yourself. And we don't mean that as in a negative way. It is not. It is part of the game. It is part of the system. It's part of the operating program, essentially. And when you can come to a place of releasing that kind of resistance and just softening into the essence of who you are. And that would be a good kind of, how do we say, quote you could even have, or a mantra. I soften into the I am presence of my essence, of the essence of this soul. And if you say that to yourself again and again and again, as you sit with yourself, there will come an attention to that. There will come a place within you that can be present with the I am presence. And dear ones, we will say that when you actually truly touch in on that, and there is it is almost like a gentle electromagnetic vibrational connection of resonance. When you touch in with that place within yourself, the essence of your soul self, the essence of the I am that you are, you have a ripple effect that moves through you and consciousness changes. So that is one of the reasons why we have always said meditate. Meditate, 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 meditate. But we don't mean it like, and we say this so very often, we know some of you have heard this before. We don't just mean meditate for a practice of do it this way, this is right, this is wrong. What we really mean by the word meditate, it just means for us, when we say that to you, we are saying, call to attention the I am presence, call to attention the resonance of your soul, the essence of you as you really are, as the truth of the higher aspects of all that you are. Settle in with that consciousness, that feeling, that tonality, that tone, that resonance, and be with that which you are. What you'll find as we say meditate, 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 all the distractions come up. And if you can see that as a microcosm of the macrocosm of your daily life, that's what you're doing all the time. You are always distracting yourself in 100 different ways on a second by second basis so that you don't get fully in alignment with the I am presence. What a different world you would be in reality with, experiencing on a daily basis in an incarnation if all beings were doing exactly this. That is something truly to consider. The distractions, the pull outside of yourself to play the games the way that you do, is a part of what you come for. It's true, but it is also the trap. And the trap itself you construct in order to help yourself wake yourself up while being trapped. Ha! Whew, you are getting a lot of it today. And so when you take yourself to this place of allowing yourself to be with yourself, we know, we've said this many times as well, that some of our human friends have been great meditators. Meditators, we give that as the quote unquote, as you do, we like how you do that. And we say the meditating or the getting still within. There are many of you who have done that for many years. And some of you are just beginning. And some of you have had extraordinary transcendent experiences through this way of being still with the one who is within. And we will always remind you that you can never really do it too much, although we do always add a bit of caution to the idea that there are some people with their wiring, you could say, the wiring within the systems, that sometimes too much too fast is not good for the system. So we never say to any person, we do not say one size fits all for all things, for anything that we would ever say or offer. We say, resonate, go within, find out what is right for you. Some people need to feel their distraction for longer periods of time. That's just what you've wired into the soul for coming into a life. And there's nothing wrong with that. We talk as well many times about judgment and the ways in which you cannot judge another person's soul walk because you literally have no idea whatsoever what that soul is here for, what that soul is gaining and garnering from every experience that they are doing that seemingly in your eyes is, why would they ever do that? Or how could they be like that? Or why do they keep doing that? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If when you can look at that person and say, I have been that too. On some level, there's a potential that I have been that too. If it has not been in this lifetime, which maybe I could track it, I could possibly be in that in this lifetime even. But if I haven't been exactly like that in this lifetime, maybe I have been that before. So if you can allow yourself to release that kind of judgment and look upon another as perfectly in alignment with their soul's walk, then you realize that there is only perfection here. And that is something that is quite challenging for our human friends, because you often say, but it is not perfection, Osairah. Look around this world. There are so many of these things that we call dark. And we understand that you do call them dark, and we see them as that for and with you. We understand your human experience. And at the same time, from the wider perspective that we witness all that there is, we know that there is no thing that is inherently the wrong thing in this experience of living life. Why? Because all things are added unto you. You have the opportunity to experience everything here. And in this experience of everything here, it is the greatest potential teaching ever possible. It is just unlike anything else. You are offered everything. One of our human friends recently said to us, Osairah, in my opinion, I would say, and many others would say as well, that this is not heaven on earth. This is where hell is. And we don't ascribe to those ideas of called heaven and hell, but we understand the vibration and the idea around all of that for you. And we understand the viewpoint of that idea very, very much. And we will also say that we are not looking at you with the idea of judgment, even when we say, oh, yes, they down there are in hell. We are not saying that like that at all. We stand in neutrality. We stand as keepers of guardians of light, that you are in essence, as well. No matter what your station in life, no matter what you are experiencing in your world, in this vibrational frequency where you are heavily focused, there is inherently only experience to be had here. How you decree it, how you term it, how you choose, in effect, so much comes down to choice. How this is experienced by you is a point of, how should we say that, point of contention, or a point of or a touchstone to the point of who it is you are in this lifetime, that has come to be what you are in all aspects, so that you can advance, so that you can grow the soul's remembrance, so that you can wake up. And that is truly what we say is a part of our higher mission here with the conversation with our human friends. No matter what we talk about with you to our human friends, no matter what that conversation is along the way, ultimately, if we were to boil it all down to the essence, we always say there is only love here, and that is the essence of life experience. Love is in all as all, no matter what you think. But we also say to our human friends that your experience of being human is to actually wake yourself up while staying in a physical body before the death experience, to come to a higher level of consciousness while being in a body. And here's the thing: you would not be here in this moment or listening to this conversation if that call was not a resonance for you as a soul. And so you are on the track, you are on the path to that for your soul, for the essence of your being. To wake yourself up, many of our human friends term it like the idea of wake yourself up within the dream. To know that you are dreaming as the dreamer, but you are dreaming and wake up in the dream to stay awake while dreaming. That is a good way to say it. And so that is similar to what we would say you are trying to do here while advancing the soul's, how should we say, levels of expansion, of awareness, and some say awakening, or some say enlightenment. Those words are highly overused at this point, but we also say they do have a touchstone for many people, and so it is very helpful. We also would say it has to do with the ascension experience of the soul. So that the more that you wake yourself up while being in a body, the more you question your reality, the more that you question paradigms of belief, the more that you question your own sets of hard line belief constructs in your life, the more that you will wake yourself up inch by inch, day by day, moment by moment, the more that you reach out to the energetic systems that are all around you on so many levels, to the highest degree that you can receive, moment by moment, inch by inch, day by day, awakening by awakening, you wake yourself up. And what we also notice is that our human friends get a little antsy with that. And that goes back to the conversation we started here a moment ago when we said that one of our human friends brought to us this idea of where I don't see it as heaven on earth in any capacity. Osairah, I see only hell on earth. And isn't that just what is happening here? This really looks to be, and it seems to be, hell on earth. This is hell. There is maybe on the other side of the veil, heaven exists on that other side of the veil. And on one hand, we can sort of give a line of agreement with that. We know that what we say to you is you are great warriors when you come to this planet, when you incarnate, when you hold a focus, regardless of what your station is, and regardless of what you do in the world, regardless of who you are and what things you have taken on in this life. You are all great warriors to be willing to come to this place in the third dimensional reality of this entrapment of life experience, which is glorious to be given to you, and that it is received by you, you take it on, it also is, in many ways, this difficult walk, many would term hell experience. And in some ways, we'll say when you are relieved by the physical body, relieved by the physical body. No, that's not the correct way to say that. Languaging, we are having to construct the way the languaging works with that. In many ways, when your body is relieved, when the soul self is relieved of the body, there it is, you shift off in your perspective and you recognize every moment. You recognize why you came. You remember your mission and your purpose. You remember that, oh, that's right, I went to do all of that. That's right. And I did some of it. I did a lot of it. I like that. I did. And I also did that. And I see that I didn't do that. And I made that person feel like that. And you recognize all aspects of your forgetting. And in those moments, it's not that you say, oh, I was so wrong. You say, oh, I did so well and I have so much more to do, which is so wonderful as the consciousness that you are. The consciousness that you are when you are on the other side of the veil, relieved of the physical body and all the constructs that go along with being in a physical body, heavily focused in being alive. You do have a different sense of existence and of reality, and you have the multidimensional connections that you did not have in a full awareness to you while you were in the construct of being human. And so when you are over there, in many ways, those over here would definitely perceive this side of things to be much more like heaven. And so that is why this how should we say, thread of constructive belief is still there with you all. And so people at this time are bringing this consciousness to this reality in a body, in their purpose for mission of the life. They are saying to us, we are having many conversations about things like this, that this is more like hell on earth, Osairah. And we say, yes. And if you can see that and feel that and recognize there is more, then that is in part your mission to bring heaven or through the veil to this side. And that sometimes feels overwhelming to our human friends. We would say, start right where you are to remember that right where you are, that right where you are, that right where you are, magnificence exists. That heaven exists right here, that the love that you are, that you can reach towards another with honest, authentic love, even for 1 second, that you can appreciate a flower for its inherent beauty and the blades of grass and your sunshine, and experience the blessing of recognizing life, begetting life as its beautiful way. We don't just mean beauty in the world, we mean in the true essence of what beauty is, which is that there is vibrations of love showering upon all things. And what that bumps up against is all that you see in the world that is in flux, that is in change, that is being called to a higher dimensional reality. And so you are witnessing as physical beings who have consciousness at another level that is so large, it is so huge who you really are, but you are stuffed and pushed and forgetting into this physical body, but you are witnessing also something that is magnificent, and you know it. There is a change happening here that is beyond human comprehension. It is something so magnificent, multi-universes, how should we say that? Multi-galaxies, many, many beings of consciousness are paying attention to you here. Because to incarnate on this planet, to be in this third dimensional reality as these ages and as this old ways of being shift and new realities are continually being created, there is something magnificent in that. And it is quite an extraordinary experience. You are here on that precipice. You are here in concert. You are connected to that. It is a front row seat, you could say, and you have all wanted it. So wherever it is that you are sitting today or standing in your life or participating with your life experience, we would offer you this idea to sit for 5 minutes even and allow the vibration of the magnificence of life to enter you. Call it forward. Call it into your experience. Call it into your body systems, your cells, your consciousness, your thinking, the repetitive thoughts, because this is all one that you are. These are not separate offshoots. You just cognize them. You think of them as separate pieces. But it really is the wholeness, the holiness of you. Call in the magnificence and the majesty that you are. Call in the majesty of life, that a new child is being born in this very second. And a life breath, the wind of spirit, takes a breath into a physical body and takes on the charge to do great monumental things in a physical body. And when we say monumental things or great things, we don't mean that that soul is taking on only something that seems to be good in your world. We say it doesn't matter what that is being taken on. It is extraordinary as a soul. You, in human form, deem things good and bad, right and wrong. We say step away from judgment. We say this all the time because we think it is one of the first keys that is important for your journey to the expansion of your consciousness. Step away from judgment, the way that the world teaches you to judge people and others and the situations. Step back and gain a measure of neutrality. You will liberate yourself in such great ways if you can see that there's really no thing wrong here. Nothing. No thing wrong here. There is only good. There is only light. There is only love. And there is only growth. There is only expansion, regardless of the way that that is showing up in the world. And this, we would say, is one of our main themes of teaching, because the reasons why we would give you this offering of wisdom is because this is where most of people in human form get stuck. They are stuck with what they've been spoon-fed. They are stuck with judgments based upon their culture or their family's opinions and judgments, or they've been indoctrinated into ideas that hold them and tether them to beliefs. And these kinds of constructs that hold you down are the judgment pieces that suppress your spiritual growth. And so even if you think, well, I'm not quite like that person over there who has those views and is really, well, shall we say, very racist. That's a good one that you are all confronting these days. And I'm not like that. I'm not racist at all. But even in that moment, just to recognize you're judging that person for being racist, as opposed to stepping back in neutrality and recognize, well, there's that too. And all things exist and all beings are in their perfect place. Regardless of what I may think, I will step back a little bit more maybe today and recognize I have no idea what is going on there or why. And I stand back in neutrality, holding a space for love to exist in all beings. And that the shift of consciousness for all beings is right where they are too. That everyone playing the game within this system is in an alignment. Now, what we know, in an alignment for growth and change, in an alignment for their soul's evolution, in an alignment for the expansion of the whole paradigm to shift. But what we know is when we talk about that as being one of the main and major keys for your growth and evolution of expansion of consciousness, is that stirs the pot so very much. People get very agitated by that idea. Well, what am I supposed to do, Osairah? Step back, say nothing, do nothing. That's wrong over there. And we completely understand what that means to you. We completely understand how you would have that indignant charge of, I know that that is wrong. This is a bad thing over there. They are doing that, saying that, being like that. This is something our beloved channel has had many issues with us on some level. But how could this be, Osairah? How can you say those things? And works on those connections to how it is that her own personal opinions and or judgments about how people harm other people or do things is wrong. And we know that that stirs the pot, and we know that that gets people riled up. And in many ways, that is a very strong, how should we say that? We step out on a ledge. We step out on a ledge. I don't know. Step out on a. We don't know what the consideration is, how you say that, but we know that that is stepping out there to try to say something that is a little bold when we say that there is no thing wrong here, that everything assists in the greater expansion pieces of evolution. When our human friends then say to us, but Osairah, that's just wrong, because these people are doing wrong things. They're doing wrong things to children. They're doing wrong things to animals. They're doing these are bad things. This is war over here. This is starvation over here. There are all these things. And we say, we truly understand from this point of view that you are standing in, that is wrong in your opinion, in your experience, and how it feels to the body. And that is another important piece. When it feels a pull from the body, we know that you are stirred in a way for serious growth. Does that mean you let all these things just happen? Well, no, we don't mean that actually. What we mean is, can you stand back in neutrality? Can you look at things and know that things are happening on this experience of the third dimensional reality that you are co-creating reality with, in a way where you have this neutrality, you are not harshly judging, and you are not harshly in on this experience of vibration that says, this is wrong. And you can, with neutrality, and know that things are exactly as they need to be. And if you feel pulled and called to take an action towards helping a situation, that inherently moves within you. That is where then we say the action is. If you do not inherently feel moved or even feel hopeless or powerless of those experiences outside of yourself, well, I want to stop some of that bad thing over there, but I can't, and I don't know how, and I'm powerless over here, and I'm hopeless over here, in fact. Well, we would say shifting your own energy about that changes the collective, and it actually adds to the vibration of all that is happening here and plugs into everything that is happening here. So your energy adds to the pot of good or bad. We would say you want to feel the ease and the peace of this is all good, regardless of what I might think. So we know that kind of opens many doors and gets a lot of conversations going, and even challenges some of this that we would say, and we are fine with that. We are wondering at this point, before we ramble on and continue on, if there is any thoughts or questions up to this point, dearest one, for this is an interactive experience, yes.